WD18, welcome back to another video here on the Watford fan channel, live from Sydney. Another video here. It's afternoon at the time of recording this, and I was up bright and early this morning at about 5:30 a.m. to watch Leeds United 2, Watford 1. It's another defeat on the road, which is really frustrating. We know how concerning the away form is at the moment. And it was a really interesting game of football because I actually thought it was a huge improvement on the whole from what we saw against Luton at the weekend in that 3-0 defeat. But obviously the big talking point is going to be Daniel Bachmann, the Watford goalkeeper, a player who it does seem almost the microscope is always on him every single time he plays. He's obviously a divisive figure, I feel like, within the Watford fan base, particularly since he became the captain at the start of last season and signed that new contract. But look, it's really difficult to justify his performances over the last few weeks, particularly with how well Jonathan Bond did when he was in the side just 2 games ago. Since Batman's come back into the team against Luton and yesterday against Leeds, I think he's really struggled, and I think defensively the whole team just looks more on edge when he's playing than when Jonathan Bond's in the side. The goalkeeping area is something I spoke about quite a bit in the summer. I thought it was an area that Watford really had to look at and address in the summer transfer window. We didn't, and I feel like, to be honest with you, we are almost ruining that now. Tom Cleverley has said that he thinks Batman's one of the best goalkeepers in the league, and he's almost put his colours on the mast there. And I feel like his loyalty towards Dan could be his Achilles heel, to be honest with you, because it's costing us points at the moment, as it did yesterday. I'm not just going to speak about Batman because I do feel really sorry for him. What I saw on social media, some of the abuse he was getting was completely unacceptable. And I do feel a bit sorry for Dan because, like I say, I always just feel like so much attention is put on him, and I feel like it just adds to the pressure. A difficult one. The game started. We've spoken quite a lot this season about how Watford is struggling in the first 5-10 minutes of games, and we're conceding way too early. But yeah, Bachmann, the shot came in from the Leeds player. I can't remember who it was now. It was an absolute nightmare for the goalkeeper. It's an error and a save that you expect every goalkeeper to make. It looked like it was a routine catch. I haven't seen it back on the highlights, but from what I remember watching it when I was half asleep, it seemed like a routine catch. He almost just tried to parry it or changed his mind at the last minute with how he was going to catch it or how he was going to punch it. Couldn't make his mind up. Got caught in 2 minds. Ended up flapping at it. And to be fair, he almost saved it, scooping it off the line, but it's an awful error, awful one. And I do just wonder if, Dan, he's not stupid. He's a clever guy. He'll be aware of the pressure that's on him and the scrutiny he's under by the Watford fan base, particularly after that Luton game. And I wonder if that sort of plays into it a bit, because he's clearly shot for confidence at the moment. And I felt he probably should have done better with the second goal as well. The ball came in from the Leeds player. It was parried out by Bachmann straight to Aronson, who was able to coolly tuck it home. It was a nice finish. I was really impressed with Aronson. Another area that Batman probably should have done better with. But look, after that, I actually thought Watford did really well. I thought it was a huge improvement from what we saw against Luton and what we've seen in previous away games as well. Albeit, I think it's important to say, I think Leeds definitely took their foot off the brake. Took their foot off the accelerator. And they didn't really get out of first gear, to be honest with you. I wonder if Leeds were playing at full strength, or at their absolute maximum potential at 2-0 up in the first 7 or 8 minutes, what the final score could have been. Because I think in that regard, Watford did get a bit lucky. I do think Leeds will be one of the best teams that Watford play against this season, whether or not they are playing their absolute best anyway. So a good test for us. But I thought we did really well. I thought we did manage to get some control back into the game to an extent. We didn't really create too many opportunities. The player who I want to really single out, there are 2 players I want to single out who I thought had really good games yesterday. One of them was Quadro Bar, who obviously scored that goal, which turned out to be a consolation goal to get Watford back into the game. We're seeing him do this run a few times now where he's really, shoulder to shoulder. It's really difficult for any defender to stop him. We saw it at Man City where the goal was ultimately disallowed, but then we also saw it yesterday and he managed to get on the right side of, was it Junior Firpo? I can't actually remember who it was now. And at the second time of asking, tucked it away. We've spoken a lot about Bar this season. Phenomenal season he's having so far. Forgotten man, basically, at the start. Now, what is one of our most crucial players. And Officially, he was playing down the middle yesterday, although he was sort of floating and Incy was going down the middle a couple of times. And I think giving Bar that free roam, I think is definitely more effective than having Bayo or Jefferson in there, who coincidentally didn't get a look in either yesterday. Neither of them did. And he went with Mamadou Doumbia when Watford were chasing a goal. I wonder if that's also Tom Cleverley sending out a message to those strikers and letting them know that, that performance was not acceptable the other day at all. So yeah, really, really impressed with Quadro Bar, and hopefully he carries on impressing this season. The other man I wanted to single out actually was Matty Pollock. I think he struggled a bit away at Luton, but I think again it's just the trajectory of the season. He's just got better and better on the whole. From the player that we saw right at the start of his Watford career away at Millwall to now, I think it's chalk and cheese basically, and he's developing into a real leader in this Watford team as well. One of our most important players, one of our most consistent players this season as well, and I thought he had a good game. I thought tactically as well, I think this was the first time this season, or first time in a while at least, I thought both our wing backs at the same time had good games as well. Often, we might see Andrews have a good game on one side, but Sema might struggle on the other side, or Larousse might have a good game, Andrews might struggle, that sort of thing. But yesterday, I thought Eberseli on the right and Larousse on the left, I thought the balance was really, really good, and both of them had really, really good games. Particularly Larousse, who I still think has those defensive issues, but I thought going forward, I thought he looked really, really good. He gave us that other dimension, and Eberseli was full of energy, full of fire. We know you know what you're going to get with Festi Eberseli now. I think he's a really explosive, powerful runner. Sometimes a little bit erratic, but yeah, I think it's a really good thing for Ryan Andrews. I think more than anything, having Eberseli in there, real competition for him and for both players ultimately, because having that competition in there, they're only going to improve. In terms of team news before the game, the only concern was Tom Deli Bashir, who's been huge for us this season. I think had a swollen knee. We've seen over the last few weeks he's had it really bandaged up. He's had to have some fluid taken out, I think, and yeah, hopefully he's not going to be out for too long because he's a really important player for us. Moussa Sissoko yesterday, he's a player who splits opinion, isn't he, Sissoko? But I thought he struggled yesterday. The last few weeks, I'm not sure if it's because it might be because we're playing so many games at the moment and it's 2-3 games a week, which at his age could be tough. But off the ball, I don't think he's doing enough, to be honest with you. Leeds I can't remember who had the shot, but yesterday on the edge of the box. But Sissoko let them go way too easily past. And yeah, potentially we could see the likes of Duomo come in the next few weeks, which could be an interesting one to look at. We didn't. Another frustration I did have, to be fair, was I don't feel like we really. I thought Leeds looked vulnerable defensively, to be honest with you, whenever we got forward at times. And I don't feel like we really exploited that as best as we could. The closest we came after making it 2-1 was a Tom Ince free kick, which just fired in towards the near post. Meslier made an excellent save, I thought, with bodies in front of him. But other than that, I just felt like we could have done a bit more. But yeah, look, if you offered me 2-1 after 7 minutes, I'd have definitely taken it. Yeah, a tough one, I suppose, to just get out of there now and look to the home games, because I feel that the glue ultimately is the home games. We're not picking up points away, and ultimately it's going to be our home form that defines us over this period of the season, I feel like. And it could be a definitive one for Tom Cleverley as well, because I hate to say it, and I'm right behind him, but with the November international break coming up in a few weeks' time, we know how Gino Pozzo works when results aren't going well at international breaks, and particularly going into, a really poor run of form, particularly away from home. I do worry a bit, to be honest with you, that the pressure is ramping up now on Tom Cleverley, particularly with him consistently sticking with Daniel Bachmann. It could be an Achilles heel. So, yeah, on to Blackburn at the weekend, which is going to be a really, really big game for Watford. I feel like it's a must-win now, more for the mood and the morale around the place and within the fan base. I think it's going to be important that we pick up 3 points in that one. What I do, I think Jonathan Bond has to come back into the team. I think Barr's got to keep his place. I'd probably keep the wing backs as the same as well if they can, Larousse and Eberseli. But I think Eberseli might have struggled with injury at some point during the game. But yeah, the lads are going to be back to go into a more detailed preview and review of the Leeds game and the Blackburn game. So make sure to like and subscribe to WD18. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure to leave us a review and drop us a follow on here as well. I'll see you all soon. Up for your next.